Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Supreet, and this is your AEW Rampage review for September 10th, 2021. Joined by Abby here. Oh boy, what a week, man! What a week. How you doing?
I am absolutely fine. Indeed, what a week. All Out was, no words. They could have, they have done justice to the name of the pay-per-view. All Out. They went all out, and the world saw, everything that they had to offer. Brilliant stuff.
But on that note, what you think about Rampage?
Uh, I thought that it was a entertaining show. On paper, if you compare with what was on paper and how it went about and it got executed, I was pretty satisfied with what was the end product. I enjoyed this show, and how they started off with Andrade and Pac. Uh, it set the tone for the show. It was a very pretty entertaining show.
Are you just like me? Did the first and second episode of Rampage spoil you? Like you expecting more from these shows?
Yes, yes, expecting more, obviously, but this was, yes, a step up from the previous, a couple of episodes. But yes, not on par with the first two, shows of Rampage.
But according to you, what should Rampage actually mean? If Dynamite is still your A show with all these major storylines, what should Rampage be?
Mhm. Uh, you know, it is also a show where you are advancing your storylines. That is that you do not have enough TV spots, or you can say TV time on Dynamite, so you can utilize it on Rampage. And you also have to make sure that the fans tune in and the fans come in to watch the show. So, if it is live, obviously, because I guess this was taped after Dynamite, this was not live. So, that also plays a huge factor. So, they have to, book such a match. That is, for example, in this show, they booked this, Andrade versus Pac, to make sure that the fans tune in, that a big marquee match is booked. And stuff like Darby Allin, his comments, and stuff like Brian Danielson, Adam Cole, giving their comments and stuff like that, to make sure that the fans tune in. And you are also advancing your storylines with that. So you know it they have to do that. As I have said in the past, when Rampage was just about to hit the airstreams, that they have to make sure that both the shows are compelling to watch for the fans, or else they might tune out. The uh, time slot is also a huge deal, that it is 10 p.m. for the people in the United States. So that also plays a huge factor, but nonetheless it should be compelling enough for you to watch. So yes, advance your storylines, have a compelling match with a storyline that makes you watch the show, and it also invests the people in the said characters and your show, and in the future they are compelled to continue to watch Rampage. They do not, have that mindset that fuck, this show is, a waste of time. I am, happy that, and it is enough that I should only watch Dynamite. They have to make sure that that doesn't happen. So they have to make sure of that. So there are plenty of characters on the roster. They can book, compelling storylines and, advance the storylines. They have enough, people and, minds too in their, office and roster.
But let's talk about the card. So we had Andrade El Idolo versus Park. We also had a small interview with both Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. There was a 6-women trios match. This was Britt Baker, REEBA, and Jamie Hayter. So they were facing Ruby Soho, RIHO, and Kris Statlander. And in the main event, we had the hometown hero, if you will, Brian Pillman Jr. versus Max Caster of the Acclaimed, and so much more. But before that, if you are new to Slamhub Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out our other content. Links provided in the description below. But before we get to the actual review, let's talk about Brian K, shall we? Because who better? So, did you hear you could say some news regarding this guy? Is like his wife, Melissa Santos. She came out, publicly and said that he's being misused. He's not the same Brian Cage that we also in Impact, Lucha Underground, Indies. So, what do you think about this situation? Because a lot of theories regarding Brian Cage. You can call that he's misused, or he's lost in the shuffle because large roster in AEW right now. Or is it that Brian Cage is not connecting with the AEW audience? What is going on here?
You can also take this attempt by Melissa Santos as a way for the audience to, notice Brian Cage and probably, get behind Brian Cage. That if there is a problem, I'm not saying there is, that, I'm not saying that there is a problem, he's being used and misused and blah, blah, blah. But this attempt by Melissa Santos, that, he's being misused and stuff like that, that attempt makes very much, many a times, fans connect to the guy and, it pushes him to the forefront. That it is an attempt to, get the fans connected. Even if, if there is some truth to that, and if the fans also resonate with that narrative, it can help Brian Cage. So whatever is she is saying, if there is some truth to that, I would say that how Brian Cage was, portrayed or presented in Impact Wrestling. I watched Impact Wrestling, so I can see that he was heavily pushed as one of the top guys, as a monster by, I guess he was also, you could say that he was also put over huge by, Don Callis on commentary. And he's a fucking machine and stuff like that. And he was also their world champion. He lost to Sami Callihan in a steel cage. So, he was presented as such at the time. But right now, as you are saying that it is a huge roster, and, this thing of, you can call it nepotism, you can call it friendships, which exists in every organization in the world. that you prefer your best friends, your family over other people who are on the in the company or on the roster here. So they get preference and they get TV time over the other people. It happens. It happens. So people like Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, uh, and their friends, or the people who are connected with them, they get more TV time and promo time, and probably the other people who are on the roster, they might not get the TV time. So what you know could be the solution, that is that whenever you get the opportunity, you make the most of it. They said that maximize your minutes, you do that. And the best you know you can say the approach to connect with the crowd is uh, old school mindset is via promos. If you are given a mouthpiece, via the mouthpiece. If you are doing your own, do your own, connect with the crowd. And right now you have social media. Try to do with social media, connect with the audience. This thing with Melissa Santos, that is also an attempt in a way, you know uh, saying that management is not giving shit about him and blah blah blah, and the audience resonates or sees that, oh, she might be right. And then whenever Brian Cage comes out, and the audience say shit about the management, and they pop huge for Brian Cage. So, and then it goes to a push for Brian Cage. So it cannot happen, but you know let's see what happens.
So it's clear that he is not being misused. He needs to put in the effort to stand out now, I guess.
Yes, there are many people there who are more, you can say, recognized in the world because they have come from WWE. Brian Cage was not in WWE, so the management would not see him as such a big, guy, superstar, or whatever. They would not give him preference over the other. You cannot give preference to Brian Cage if the other uh, guy is Brian Danielson. You wouldn't. And the only thing is right now that whenever he gets an opportunity, maximize your minutes. And you know and the other stuff regarding friendships, that is just you can either bitch, moan and complain about that, or you can just accept it as a part of life, and work hard on yourself. Do not care what is happening on the outside. Care about what you are doing. Work on yourself, make yourself better. If you are not good on promos, work on your promos, work on your character. And whenever you are given an opportunity, grab that, pitch ideas to the management, and then pounce on that when they give you, go out and show what you got. So go out and then blast it out and hit it out of the park. And that is when audience will also connect with you, and they will see that you have improved on your on your skills, and what you were and what you are now. There is a huge difference. they see that you may not think that way, but they see that, have a positive mindset, it would definitely work.
But sticking to the topic of Brian Cage, I think it would be fair if we talked about his best friend, that is Tessa Blanchard. So there is some news going on that not just AEW, but even WWE are not interested in bringing in Tessa Blanchard because of the quote unquote nuclear heat. And we learned that AEW fans will not be, uh, accepting her. If you heard the chants in the Casino Battle Royal in the All Out, during the All Out pay per view. So we had a dueling chant of "We want Tessa, no, we don't." So yeah, that's the situation with the AEW fan base. The WWE situation is a little shocking to me, but overall, what do you think about the situation with Tessa Blanchard, being labeled as the nuclear heat still after a year or so? Because we thought the situation was going to die, but it's still there.
No, she is an incredible talent, no question on that. But the fact is that whatever accusations and stuff like that have been, uh, you can say, put on her, whether it's regards to, I guess, that is racism, bullying, and stuff like that. uh, so that have stuck, and there are I also read somewhere that there are many people of the AW locker room, obviously, because they are either friends or one or two have been they were victims of that. So they are not very welcome of Tessa Blanchard. And the fact is that you know that is there, that is a big reason as to why she would not be here. And the fact of the fan base, that is the mindset which comes about from the wrestling media, that how the news came about, and stuff like that, that if her talent and her achievements, those and her hard work, that comes to the forefront at any time, probably she would come to, you can say, a better you know uh, a better light in the eyes of the fans. But yes, obviously, the media plays a huge part in the mindset of the fans. And secondly, this fact of she being the daughter of uh, Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA, that also plays a huge factor, that yes, she has the pedigree, and it creates you can say a fear in the minds of the other talent, that we won't get a chance, that if another star comes in and stuff like that, she would be given more opportunities, and we would get overshadowed or overlooked and stuff like that. That also plays a huge factor. So that also goes to the negative of Tessa Blanchard, that when you saw her in Impact, prior to what happened with the championship belt, that she was not very uh, open to you know dropping the title and stuff like that. That also plays a huge factor, uh, you know that her mindset to dropping the title and stuff like that, not doing business, that also plays a huge factor in any company, that your history is not good with regards to that. And I was saying, prior to the shit that happened with the championship belt, she was booked, like a, fucking unstoppable, star in Impact Wrestling. She had, phenomenal matches, first time evers and stuff like that, with Sammy Callahan and other people, with Brian Cage and other people. She was the face of Impact Wrestling at one point, and she was, probably the number one women's wrestler of, the whole, the time period. She even, probably, overcame, Charlotte Flair and stuff like that, and now it is, Diana Parazo. But the fact is that what all has happened post her, dream run, that has made the companies, very skeptical. So, let's see. Probably, in the future time, in the future to, come about, probably she would get signed, whether AEW or WWE, but she needs to get her mind straight. And, she probably needs to, cut her ego, and she needs to, probably, if she hasn't already, apologize to Impact Wrestling, because Impact Wrestling also has a relationship with AEW. So if she did that shit with the championship belt, so that also plays to the detriment of her getting signed to AEW or any company who is affiliated to Impact Wrestling. So uh, you know let's see. She's a great talent. Wherever she gets signed, she would be a huge asset. But the fact is that she needs to get her head straight, and it would be great. But the fact is that yes, she needs to get her attitude and ego in check, and nothing further. She's a great talent.
But now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the actual show, the review. So they opened up with Andrade El Idolo versus the Bastard Pac. So this was set to originally happen in the pay-per-view. Then the whole situation with Pac came about, the trial restriction and stuff. But we are getting it here on Rampage. Match turned out to be really good. They are like just pulling off crazy moves. Crowd loved it. Turned out to be a really good match, but we somewhat have had a fuck finish. But there you go. What you think about this match?
Uh, this thing regarding the travel issues and this match, being taken off the pay-per-view, I don't buy that. The thing is that 1 week prior, I guess they were in probably Pittsburgh. I'm not so sure. Prior to Chicago, either they were in Pittsburgh or they were somewhere else. I'm not, I do not remember at this point. But the fact is that wherever they, were, I guess there were no, travel issues. There were none. But the fact is that, I guess not the fact, but the thing is that what could be the reason as to why they booked this match not on the pay-per-view and on Rampage instead. And we have seen the tweets from Andrade, and we have seen his social media activity, and we can perceive a little bit that as to his match was taken off the pay-per-view. It was not travel issues. But what could be the reason? It could either be Andrade's comments on Meltzer some weeks ago, and uh, the fact is that if you are in place of AEW, if you are AEW management or you are Tony Khan and you want All Out to be, presented or publicized, post what, post when the pay-per-view has happened, to be one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. You do not want a guy who has beef with Meltzer on it, because it could hamper that publicity, so to speak. So you do not want Andrade on that show. You had to take him out there so that that show is, you know shouted from the mountains to the world that fuck, this was the best show ever. It had the highest buy rate ever. uh, a show which was not produced by WWE. It had I guess from it was in, I guess, close equal to a show from WCW in 1999. I guess 200K buys and plus. So, you had to have that publicity from the wrestling media. So, and the top of the food chain is Dave Meltzer. So you have to keep him happy. So you had to get him off the pay-per-view, him being Andrade. This could be one of the reasons. Second could be time constraints. Time constraints do not allow Andrade and Park to have a good, solid, long match on the pay-per-view. Third could be, their match or the other matches on the card could get overshadowed by, each other or another. So they had to have that match taken out and have that either on Dynamite or on Rampage. And these could only be the reasons. Travel issues, I do not buy that. Even this bit, I do not. And with regards to the match you were saying, I would absolutely agree. This was a competitive, hard-hitting, entertaining match, and there was, I guess, little or no mention of the story. The storyline as to how it all came about. Little or none. This looked like a fucking PWG match. And at the start of the match, the Taz tried to get us believe that probably there were travel issues and Chavo Guerrero had some hand in that, but nothing was there. No promos, no pre-taped promos, nothing. There was absolutely nothing. So as to get that narrative to the fans that something of that sort even happened. And with regards to what happened post-match, probably you first have to run down that, and I can say something about that.
So, like I said, the match was really good, and I will say this is the best Andrade has looked so far in AEW.
Yes, agreed.
So, if you want to talk some highlights, so it started with your usual forearms being exchanged. Pac would hit a good tope con hilo on the outside. So there was this spot where Andrade hit a tornado DDTs up somewhat on the apron, which looked brutal, followed by a really great looking springboard corkscrew. So there was this spot where Andrade and Park, were fighting on the top rope. Park was hanging on the ropes, and Andrade hit a double foot stomp. And there you go. From there, it was all Andrade. So there was this spot where Andrade was sent into the barricades, and I think he hit a fan. And to apologize the fan, he broke character midway. So there you go. So Andrade was going for the foot stomp spot again, but this time he misses, and Park, would end up hitting a big moonsault. So in the ring, they would be, exchanging a lot of near falls. We see some transitions from both men, and Andrade, was caught in the brutalizer. So here comes assistant Jose. So he brings in a, taser gun for some distraction, and referee was not, paying attention to the match. So here comes Chavo Guerrero, and he hits Pac with a iPad. So this allowed, Andrade to pin Pac, as Pac was unconscious at this point, quote unquote. And there you go, man. So this was somewhat of a fuck finish, like I said. And thoughts on this? Anything you wanted to add on this match before we head to the post match?
You said that the finish. I would agree that it went, yes, flat. They could have used something else, but it he had it was his signature weapon. Him being Chavo Guerrero, that he is his mentor, his manager. He uses the iPad for booking flights and stuff like that. So he had to use that in some shape or fashion so as to maintain his character. So probably that is why they used the iPad. Other than that, nothing there was any problem with regards to the match. A PWG-esque match, and we saw glimpses of Andrade, how he was in NXT. Great stuff. And as you said, this was the best Andrade we have seen in AEW, and we were clamoring for this version of Andrade, and hopefully we would see more of such. And if this match had a consistent story to it, it could have had a little more spice, and it could have been a lot more enjoyable to the fans, and we would have been more invested, and it could have had us a little more, you could say, up in the air, with regards to all of the shit that happened. But nonetheless.
But post match, we had, Andrade was kind of celebrating with Chavo, but he would end up, knocking out Chavo, and left, left Chavo for dead, as the death triangle would beat up, Chavo Guerrero, and there you go, man. So does that mean this is it for the pairing of Chavo and Andrade?
Possibly. I had said in the past, when Andrade debuted, probably with Vicky Guerrero, I had said probably in 1 week post after that they are biding time. They are biding time for Ric Flair to come in. So it could very well be that we could see now Ric Flair coming in to be Andrade's mentor. Very we could see it very well. But now how it comes about, that we have to see. I don't know how much Chavo is fit as regards to doing in-ring work. That if AEW are thinking about booking Andrade versus Chavo Guerrero, if
know.
it happens, and if Chavo is capable of giving a match and for a feel good moment, and obviously putting Andrade over, it could be great. You are fighting a lucha libre a legend from legend family, the Guerreros, and Andrade is fighting him to end the pairing and stuff like that. It could be great if Chavo Guerrero is fit for in-ring stuff. So that could end that phase of his AW run, and then you could get in Ric Flair, if you are thinking that way. And if you have just pushed away Chavo Guerrero in some shape or form, that also is a possibility that we won't see Chavo Guerrero on television anymore. So that is also a possibility. But in ring they could do if it is possible, and it would also put over Andrade. And Chavo Guerrero, he is a name. People know him, and Andrade beats him. That puts stock in the guy. And other than that, I saw a tweet from Sean Ross Sapp, SRS, that he threw out a theory regarding this storyline, that it could pivot to that, or it was his plan all along, that Andrade was originally wanting Pac to join him. He was not wanting Lucha Bros. He was wanting Pac to join him. So they make a tag team, UK, Mexico, and go about for a tag team of some sort. So he threw out a theory. I don't know how it works, but if it comes about, let's see.
Pretty odd shot booking, if you ask me, with Andrade's and with several managers, from the way he went from Wiki to Chavo, and now even Chavo is gone.
As I said, they were biding time. They were biding time for Ric Flair, to come in. Ric Flair has, since he got released, or he got his release from WWE, he has appeared on Triple Mania in Lucha Libre AAA. Then he also appeared on the NWS 73, at the Chase Ballroom, and now he could appear, either full time or otherwise on AEW television. So, he's not doing in-ring work. They are bringing him as a manager. So, there is huge possibility of compelling content with regards to Ric Flair. They can have interactions with the likes of the Pinnacle, Tully Blanchard and other people. So Sting, Darby Allin. So there is a huge possibility of compelling content, but let's see if it if and when it comes about.
But still, Andrade needs a mouthpiece too, if like he can't go out there and start cutting promos by himself.
Yes, agreed.
But we'll have to wait and see. But up next, we had a interview with Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole. both men tell us why they came to AEW. Adam Cole tells us that his history with the lead, etc. Bryan Danielson said that he's coming after Kenny Omega from the get-go, and there you go, man. What do you think about this situation with Danielson going for Kenny Omega?
You know, we were also, thinking and predicting and fantasy booking in our heads that probably Bryan Danielson, when he arrives in AEW, he would probably be going for Kenny Omega. So whatever he said on Dynamite, it it pretty much makes sense. If you are if you are a WWE fan, if you are a AEW fan, if you are a wrestling fan, if you know Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, if you know Kenny Omega, if you know professional wrestling, you know that Kenny Omega, if he has the championship belt, but uh, in the front, is standing Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan, who is a multi-time WWE World Champion, and he has proved himself in the independent scene and in the worldwide stage as well. So uh, you know Kenny Omega has something to prove. Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, at this point, he doesn't have anything to prove. Kenny Omega has to prove. He has to prove that now, as Bryan Danielson has arrived and has entered the AEW realm, is he still the best? Is he still the best? Is he worthy of holding the top prize of the company? Or is Bryan Danielson the rightful holder of the championship? So, it makes for itself. If Bryan Danielson has to, go through the ringer and get the rank number one, so to speak, they can make him do that, but I do not think so that they should do that. It would only hurt the people who he will wrestle. Because how would you book the guy? How would you book his matches with the other guys? How would you book him? You would have to book him exactly like the guys such as Malachi
Cage.
Black, not Christian Cage.
Okay,
Malachi Black.
How about if you want to do Bryan Danielson at this point, if you want that match at the pay-per-view, of course, it will have to
Yes.
happen at the next pay-per-view, right? Not a random dynamic.
Yeah. No.
So if you are doing
absolutely
this,
not.
if you are doing this, and there is some challenge for him to become number one ranked, or at least be considered in the top 5 rankings, it's a little hard at this point. How about we have a tournament instead? A mini tournament.
That would probably be the same thing, him having matches and stuff like that. They can do that. It is a long time to the pay-per-view, I agree. Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, they can do ample shit, in the in between. They can, get promos, they can get into each other's, face, they can, have brawls, they can, say shit about, each other's, personal life and stuff like that. And, then they can also, book stuff like, tag team matches, trios matches and stuff like that. And then they can also have beat downs, that is complimentary. And let's see, he can also compete against the Young Bucks in some shape or form. He can have a tag team partner, for example. He can have Christian Cage. He can have Jungle Boy, and they can do stuff. They can do stuff. Let's see. They have a long road to that, and
It has to make sense because we are in a AEW's world. If it was WWE, would have predicted it, book this match already. Now that we are in this AEW world, I think something has to make sense on why we are getting Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, right?
Yes, agreed. Right now, the reason that Bryan Danielson said that is basically that I am an elite competitor, and you have to, prove that you are better than me. Because right now, I know that I am not on your level. I am above you. So that is mindset. And if you ask a person from the mainstream who has not watched AEW, who has not watched New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, he would agree with you. Even the wrestling fans would agree with you that Bryan Danielson is better than Kenny Omega. But now the onus of proof is on Kenny Omega, that he has to prove. Previously, it was obviously on the challengers. All the challengers have to prove and take the championship from Kenny Omega. This time it is Kenny Omega has the championship, but Bryan Danielson is better than him. He said it in his own words. And who can refute that fact? Probably only Kenny Omega. So that he has to prove. And I do not know that how will they book on the pay-per-view, who would be going over. I would not be shocked or surprised if Bryan Danielson wins, but if it goes otherwise, I would also be happy that way too.
Let's see. Hope Hangman gets his big payoff. That's the main story.
He would get his payoff in some shape or form. Let's see, how it comes about. Let's see. Would he be joining the elite, or let's see.
But moving on, we had a 6-women's match here. So this was Ruby Soho, RIHO, and Kris Statlander. So they were facing Jamie Hayter, REEBA, and Dr. Britt Baker, TMD. So I thought it was a okay match. It was designed in a way to serve the purpose, and that was to the baby faces to get one up on the heels, and the main factor is here to build momentum. Continue momentum for Ruby Soho, because she as of now is the hottest thing right now in the AEW women's division, and which is good to see, because if Britt Baker is your top heel, then Ruby Soho is automatically now your top babyface in that division. So what do you think about this match here?
Yes, I also thought that it was a decent match. Yes, it was entertaining nonetheless. And as you said that, Ruby Soho got the victory, and she got the pin on Rebel. And, they have to, as you said, continue the momentum, and they have to make sure that their next, number one contender for the women's championship, she is seen, and, she makes a mark in the minds and hearts of the fans, that she is someone, and the fans know of her pretty well, and she gets herself over with the fans. uh, in this match, they didn't have the heels beating down the baby faces, and showing their domination as they had that on Dynamite. So pretty good. And Ruby got the pin on Rebel, so it, you can say, protected the women's champion Britt Baker. So let's see when the ultimate showdown happens between Ruby and Britt Baker.
I think mostly at the Arthur Ashe.
Possibly, yes.
Because that card is shaping up to be a big pay-per-view like Dynamite.
Yes, yes.
But we'll have to wait and see. But if you want to talk about the highlights here, like the match really got good at the end, where Statlander took out Baker with a big back theory. So her and RIHO were doing some double T move, and RIHO would end up hitting a double foot stomp on REEBA, who was shielding Baker. So RIHO then took out Jimmy Hayter with a really good looking crossbody, and in the ring, Soho took out REEBA with the riot kick, and that was it. Baby faces go over, and yeah, let's see when this title match eventually happens, mostly at the Grand Slam show in 2 weeks or so. But
Yes.
we had a interview with in-ring interview with Sting, Darby Allin. So they were addressing the situation with Tully Blanchard, kind of did an open challenge to them, booking this match between Darby Allin and Sean Spears. So Darby called out Sean Spears, called him a generic piece of shit. He went there. And Sting was addressing this like statement from Tully, where Tully said that Sting latches on to others, and Sting pointed out to this is actually Tully who has been doing that for years, and he threw out examples like how you used to latch on to this Slick Rick for many years. Then Tully Blanchard came out. He was talking some shit to Sting, was kind of causing some distraction. So while this was going on, Sean Spears came from the back, took out Darby Allin, hit the C4 on the floor, and there you go. So basically building up the match for Dynamite and nothing much. Darby Allin, I think now that he has gotten the big rub from CM Punk, maybe he goes on to be featured as a main eventer in the next couple of months.
Possibly, and he has been, he was a main event guy for television when he was holding the television title, the TNT Championship, and he has gotten the rub from Punk, as you said, and indeed, he's gotten more eyes on him, and more people now know of him, and things are only going up for Darby Allin, and I suspect that these interactions what regarding Tully Blanchard, Sean Spears, Sting, and Darby Allin, probably they are thinking of a tag match, and you just mentioned Arthur Ashe Stadium. They could do their this tag match if they are thinking that way. So let's see if they are thinking that way.
Man, this Arthur Ashe Stadium is no joke. Like they are really going to hit a home run there also.
Agreed. That would be their largest attendance So they are going all out, uh, pun not intended, in there too.
But no matter what, I think we don't want to see a singles match between Sting and Tully Blanchard in 2021.
No, and they would not be booking a singles match. I do not think so.
It probably
That
would
match,
blow our mind out, because those two guys are very smart at what they do. But still,
let's say, probably it
but
would be a tag match.
yeah, that is the only logical option if you want to get these two guys involved. But as we head towards the main event, they do their usual Mark Henry entering the participants of the main event. That is Brian Pillman Jr. and Max Caster. Pillman made a comment where we all know that Caster could walk the walk, but sorry, what's the actual statement here? No, he could talk the talk, but we have yet to see him do the walk, like referring his wrestling abilities as of now. And we have seen how he made a reference of him getting trouble lately with talking stuff. So really good stuff. I really like this Rampage main event bit with Mark Henry. And yeah, we get to this main event. This was Brian Pillman Jr. versus Max Caster. The Acclaimed are officially back on TV. One thing to note, I want them on a live edition of Dynamite.
Agreed. Agreed.
So Caster, he was doing his rap thing here, sitting on Cincinnati, and he was about to completely go ballistic. And but Anthony Bowens, he stopped him at the right time. So reminded Caster that he's on thin ice. Loved it. So we get to this match. Brian Pillman Jr. is old school as it gets. He is not your typical flashy wrestler. So nothing much here. So the story here was Anthony Bowens constantly got involved. Every chance he got, at the end, Pillman would eventually take him out. So Max Caster had a chance to finish off the match with his elbow drop that he calls it the mic drop, but he missed that. Pillman hit a springboard clothesline for the victory. Very surprising finish, you should say, in 2021 standards. But I go back to the point of Brian Pillman being super old school. So there you go, man. Pillman Jr. got a big win in his hometown. And yeah, they are setting up to that big match between him and MJF at Arthur Ashe. And boy, that segment at Dynamite, it was, like I said, it was a live assassination. But overall, really good stuff. And what you think about this match and this thing going on with Pillman and MJF?
This match, I thought that it was entertaining, and as you said, old school, classic heel work from the Acclaimed. As you said, Bowens took every chance when he got attacking the babyface. Caster was distracting the referee, and Bowens got every chance when he got attacking Brian Pillman. And regarding the finish, the springboard clothesline, it was an homage to his father, Brian Pillman Senior. It was his finisher, Flying Brian, and he was also sporting a similar gear, the tiger stripes, as his father wore, Brian Pillman. So that was a huge thing for the crowd and the sentiment and the story of this match. It was booked on Dynamite with MJF, as you said.
He went all out, no pun intended.
Absolutely. What that promo was, what the segment was, uh, you know, I want more of such shit. Because uh, you know, uh, it hit a chord with the fans. Many people would have thought it went too far. When Tony Schiavone, he said at one point, "Let's stop this. Stop this. Cut his microphone. He's gone too far." It felt real because the stuff he was saying and the tone he had was so fucking, you know, real, or you can say, compelling, that, it grabbed everyone. If the heel is so vicious and it grabbed the attention of everyone, and it grabbed the emotion of everyone, and took it out from your body, and it made you hate the guy. And if you're a wrestling fan, you appreciated the guy, that man, he's doing such great stuff. And that is what the promo skills is all about. And he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck that what is happening. Whenever he comes out to the ring, he addresses the fans at whatever, white trash, hicks, and whatever the things that he says. you know it is not PC at all. It is not PC at all. And that is what connects with the crowd. Either you respect the guy for, or you love the guy for his skills, or you hate the guy what he's saying, that hits a chord in you, and it triggers you, it offends you. So his mindset was that I have to make the crowd hate me. I am in the hometown of Brian Pillman Jr. I have to say whatever I have to say to make the crowd hate me. His family, I have to, shit on him, and shit on them, and I have to make them, part of this, you know, say shit about them. And this match is booked for the Arthur Ashe, Stadium Grand Slam. So I have to make that story so compelling that the fans watch that, they are compelled to watch that, and they want my ass to be beaten. They are compelled to get behind Brian Pillman Jr. So was that mission accomplished? I guess so, because his sister got involved. You would have sympathy with her. She was pregnant. And, the shit that he said, you know, even I, as a, as a heel, as a member of the Wrestle Square roster, I would not, go there. But the shit that he said, you know, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, and, fucking amazing. Amazing. I have only, amazing to say.
Basically, MJF put over Brian Pillman Jr.
Yes, if you have 2 weeks or 3 weeks to the match, and you are having a marquee match on a marquee card at a marquee show, and how will you make the guy, in a short period of time, you have to say shit which is so compelling that you just crowd around that, and that you say that, oh my god, what the fuck that he said. And probably if it had such potential, it could go mainstream as well. That it had such potential, it had such words which which are not PC, that the PC crowd, the cancel culture crowd, that also pounces on that, and they say, just shut it, that shut this, shut AEW, that is not acceptable. So that also makes the people watch, the Arthur Ashe show. That is what is required. But, I guess it was great stuff on Dynamite. And this was only a continuation of the storyline. Max Caster, is a heel and he is great on the microphone as well. He has to, for a little time, he has to tone it down a bit with regards to his raps. But, he will get, his time when his time comes. But the fact is, the guy is great and he did his job he has to do. He has to put over Brian Pillman Jr. and he has to give a match as a heel, which he did. He put over the hometown guy in his hometown. Mission accomplished.
So that's not it, because as he was doing his post-match celebration, Pillman was attacked by both members of the Acclaim. They were about to, use the boombox him on Pillman here, but he was saved by yet another hometown hero, that is Jon Moxley. He beat up both members of the Acclaimed. I think it was Bowens who ate a paradigm shift, and there you go. That's how Rampage went off the air. And yeah, man, we'll have to wait and see if we see more of this Pillman MJF feud as we head towards the big Grand Slam show in 2 weeks.
Yes, absolutely. And them using Moxley, to put over Pillman Jr., that also, speaks volumes that, they are having MJF, Pillman Jr. on the card. So they want people to care about that match. So them, making Moxley, give the rub, so to speak. So that also is great. And him, also being in the ring, sending the crowd happy from, his hometown, Cincinnati, Ohio, or Cincinnati, Ohio. So that is also, great, on its own.
So on that note, Abby, where can these guys find you?
Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AbbyManiac. And if you want, you can also find me on Facebook at Abhishek Aneja.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamhubW, Instagram at Slamhub Wrestling. You can catch this review on Anchor and Spotify as well. This was the Rampage review, and see you guys next time.